What's going on, guys? Rye again here from P3 Protocol. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about technical failure and how to get the most out of your training without putting yourself at an excessive risk for injury or overreaching yourself. So here in a second we're going to see a set, one of my sets from my own training that I'm using for my P3 Protocol program. So we're going to talk about that here in a second, but today we're going to dive a little bit deeper into technical failure. So what exactly is technical failure? When we say technical failure, we mean we're taking the movement or that set to a point where our technique starts to fail. So at that point we want to end the set. That's the end of that given movement and that given set, and we want to stop there, take our rest, do another set, or move on to the next movement. So there's a couple different forms that this can take. One, we aren't getting the full range of motion. So in our example with the lat pull down that we'll see in a second, the range of motion would be below our chin all the way down to our chest. If I can't get there and I'm only able to get it to about my forehead, then that's the end of the set. That's one form of technical failure. Another form of technical failure would be using a lot of body English or momentum to help move the weight. So that can take place in a lot of different forms of movements. For the lat pull down, maybe it would look like me leaning back and using the rest of my body to help pull down the weight. We don't want to do that. That would be the second form of technical failure. And the third would be sacrificing our safety by rounding our back in a squat or a deadlift, or putting ourselves at excess risk of not controlling the weight and putting ourselves at, like I said, more of a risk of injury. So three main forms of technical failure there. With the lat pull down, like I said, we'll see a video and then we'll talk a little bit more after about what went well and what didn't. So you guys just saw me do my actual set of lat pull downs. That's from my program that's individualized for me from the P3 Protocol program. Now, a couple of things that you notice there. I'm going to challenge myself. So what this means is we don't want to stop. We don't want to hear technical failure and then stop whenever it starts to get hard. It's supposed to be hard, but we don't want to put ourselves at a position where we're either putting ourselves at risk for injury or losing the stimulus of the movement because we're just trying to get more done. So what you notice is that every rep I was bringing it all the way down to below my chin to near my chest, and I was also fully extending my arms at the top. So I covered my range of motion part. As soon as I felt like I wasn't going to be able to bring it all the way down or do the full rep with my arms straight at the top, I stopped the set. The second thing is I kept my torso straight up and down, so I was moving like this and I wasn't leaning back as I pulled down. And that's the second thing that we talked about in terms of using momentum or body English. And third, with the lat pull down, there's probably not a great risk of injury compared to other more compound movements, but still we want to think about controlling the weight as we go up, so that way I'm not yanking my shoulders up at the top of the rep and not actually getting anything out of it and putting myself at a higher risk for injury. So as soon as I felt like any of those three things or all three of those things were going to happen, and I was going to compromise either my range of motion, my ability to do the movement with my lats as opposed to just gaining momentum, and compromising my risk of injury, as soon as I felt like any of that was going to happen, I stopped the set and that was it. I rested my 2 minutes, I did another set with perfect technique, going until technical failure, and then stopped that and moved on to the next movement. So our goal is to do that same thing with all of our movements. So we want to train hard, but we don't want to put ourselves at a risk of injury, poor range of motion, or poor technique with extra momentum. All right, so we learned what technical failure was, we learned about the three main forms, and we saw an example of what a set should look like, training hard but not taking it past the point of technical failure. So like I said, the goal is for most movements, most sets, just about all the training we do to take things to that edge of technical failure, but when we start to feel either our safety, range of motion, or feel like we need to use a lot of momentum, that's when we cut the set, take our rest, and move on, okay? So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, let us know in the comments what you'd like to see more of, as well as share this with a couple of your friends, and we'll see you next time.